I want to start us off with a story. It's an old parable, and it's a little bleak at first, but just stick with me on this one.
Okay, I'm listening.
So there's this beggar, and he's been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years, just there. And he's not on a bench or anything. He's perched on this old, beat-up box.
Right, so you can just picture it. The dust, the road, and this guy with his box.
Exactly. And every single day, people walk by. And he just sort of mechanically holds out an old baseball cap and mumbles, spare some change.
He's on autopilot. It's just this loop he's in.
A total loop. Then one day, a stranger walks by. But this person's different. He doesn't just toss a coin, he stops. And he asks a question that nobody had ever asked before. He says, "What is that you are sitting on?"
Which probably just confused the beggar, right? He's looking for cash, not a conversation about his seat.
He was completely thrown. He's like, "It's nothing, just an old box. I've been sitting on it forever." But the stranger keeps at it. He says, "Have you ever looked inside?"
And the beggar probably just laughed.
He did. He says, "No, what's the point? There's nothing in there." But the stranger insists, "Have a look."
And that's the moment, isn't it?
That's the pivot. The beggar, grumbling, he finally pries the lid open. He just stares. The box is filled, absolutely filled with gold. For 30 years, he's been sitting on a fortune, begging for pennies, and the answer was right there, right underneath him.
And that parable is the perfect way into what we're talking about today, because our source material, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, basically says, we are that beggar.
That's the central idea we have to wrap our heads around. We're constantly looking outside of ourselves for pleasure, for security, for fulfillment.
For the next notification on our phone.
Yeah, exactly. All while we are sitting on this treasure that we haven't even bothered to look at.
And Tolle's not just talking about some vague, abstract fulfillment. He's talking about the end of suffering. And that's really the mission of this deep dive today. We're going to try and understand why our minds cause us so much pain, what this thing called the pain body is, and how to access what he calls the now to find that gold.
It's such a bold claim, though, the end of suffering. I think most of us just assume suffering is, part of the human condition.
Yeah.
But the book starts with a line that just stops you cold. Tolle writes, "You are not your mind."
And that's so jarring, because if I ask you who you are, what do? You describe your thoughts, your memories, your opinions. They all live in your mind.
It's Descartes, right? I think, therefore I am. We've been taught that our thinking is our identity.
That's the fundamental error, he points out, that voice in your head, the one that's narrating everything. Tolle says that's not you, it's a tool. But for almost everyone, the tool has taken over.
Let's talk about that voice. Because everyone listening knows exactly what we mean. It's the inner commentator. It starts the second you wake up. Ugh, I'm so tired. I don't want to go to work. Did I reply to that email?
It complains, it compares, it judges. This is good, this is bad, I like this, I hate that. And the thing is, that voice is almost never talking about what's actually happening right now.
Oh, never. It's either dredging up some cringy thing I said in 2008 or stress testing an argument I might have next week.
Exactly. And Tolle uses this really confronting analogy. He says, imagine seeing someone walking down the street, muttering to themselves, arguing with people who aren't there.
You'd think they were unwell. You'd probably cross the street.
Right. But he says the only difference between that person and a so-called normal person is that the normal person keeps the monologue inside their head. The content is identical. Why did she say that? What if I fail? I need to remember to buy milk. It's just this chaotic, uninvited noise.
That is actually a horrifying way to frame it. That we're all just practicing a kind of silent, socially acceptable insanity.
In a way, yeah. Tolle calls it an addiction. He asks a really simple question. Can you choose to be quiet inside? Can you just turn it off for, say, 20 minutes?
No way. If I try to stop thinking, the voice just gets louder and it starts shouting about how I'm failing at not thinking.
And that proves his point. If you can't stop it, then you're not in control. The mind is using you.
Okay, so if I'm not that voice, then who am I? It feels like if you take that away, there's nothing left.
And that's the fear. But he offers a really practical way to find out. He calls it watching the thinker.
Okay, break that down for us. How does a person watch their own mind?
You shift from being the actor in the drama to being the audience. So a thought comes up like, I'm never going to finish this project. I'm such a failure.
Right, and normally I would just become that feeling. The anxiety, the spiral.
You merge with it. But watching the thinker means you hear that sentence, and instead of believing it, you just notice it. You step back and go, ooh, look at that. A thought about failure just appeared.
It's a subtle distinction, but I am a failure versus I'm having a thought that I am a failure feels like a world of difference.
It's a complete game changer. Because in that moment of witnessing, you've created a separation. There's the thought, and then there's you, the awareness that is watching the thought.
So if you can watch it, you can't be it.
Exactly. You are the awareness behind it. And in that moment, the thought loses all its power. A little space opens up, a gap. Tolle calls it a gap of no mind.
And that gap, that's the gold in the box.
That's the peace, even if it only lasts for a second. It's a moment of stillness where you are completely present, but not thinking.
Okay, so we've got the voice, but that voice has a favorite playground, and that's time. This is the part of the book where I really felt my brain pushing back. Tolle says that time is the root of our suffering.
He does. And for a modern, logical person, that's a tough one to swallow.
It seems impossible. I have appointments, I have deadlines. My whole life is structured by time. I can't just ignore it and float around in some blissful now.
And Tolle would agree with you, actually. He's not telling you to throw out your calendar. This is where we have to separate two concepts, clock time and psychological time.
Okay, that distinction is key. Break that down.
Clock time is purely functional. The sun rises at 6 a.m., your meeting is at 2 p.m. You use past memory to learn how to do something. You use future projection to set a goal. It's necessary for life in the physical world.
Right, so clock time is neutral. It's a tool.
It is, until it becomes psychological time. And that's when we attach our sense of self, our very identity, to the past or the future.
Give me an example of crossing that line.
Okay, clock time. I made a mistake on that report yesterday. The next logical step is to fix it, learn from it, and move on.
Right.
Psychological time is, I made a mistake. I'm so stupid. I always mess things up. I'm a failure.
I see. You've taken a past event and made it into a story about who you are right now.
You've glued it to your identity, and you carry it around as guilt or regret. And we do the exact same thing with the future. Clock time is, I have a presentation next week. Psychological time is, what if it goes badly? What if I get fired? What if? That's anxiety.
So it's the difference between practical planning and compulsive worrying.
Precisely. Tolle says the mind is obsessed with past and future because it's trying to escape the present moment. The now is the only place life ever actually happens. I mean, think about it. Has anything ever happened to you when it wasn't now?
Well, logically, no. When I remember the past, I'm doing it now. When the future arrives, it arrives as the now.
Right. But we live as if the present moment is an obstacle to be overcome. A waiting room, we're always trying to get to the next thing. I'll be happy when I get this promotion. I'll be at peace when the kids are grown. I'll relax on vacation.
We live our lives for the when.
And that's the trap, because you're constantly practicing dissatisfaction with what is. So even when you get the promotion, your mind won't know how to just be there. It'll immediately create the next when. You're always living 5 minutes in front of yourself.
That explains that low-level hum of stress that's always there.
Yeah.
Even when things are objectively fine.
Because stress is just the gap between here and there. It's an internal split. You are here, but your mind wants to be there. If you are fully where you are, stress is impossible.
Speaking of all this negativity, we have to talk about the pain body. This is probably the most, the most sci-fi concept in the book, but once he describes it, you start seeing it everywhere.
It's a very visceral idea, yeah. Tolle says that emotional pain, if it's not fully faced and processed, doesn't just disappear, it leaves a residue.
Like sludge in an engine.
Exactly. And over a lifetime, all these little residues of grief, anger, sadness, they merge together into an energy field. He calls it the pain body. And he describes it almost like a dormant parasite living inside you.
A parasite needs to eat, though. So what does a pain body feed on?
It feeds on more pain. It can only digest negative energy. It loves drama. It loves conflict. It loves victimhood. Peace and joy are completely indigestible to it.
This sounds so out there until you think about your own arguments. You know when you're in a fight and the other person tries to make peace, they apologize, they try to de-escalate, and some part of you just rejects it.
You actually want to keep the fight going.
Yes. Rationally, it makes no sense. You say you want peace, but in that moment, you want to make them hurt. Or you want to feel hurt yourself. You want to wallow.
That, Tolle would say, is the pain body waking up. It's hungry. It hijacks your mind. It speaks through you, pretending to be you. And it will make you say things you don't mean, bring up old grievances, push every button it can find.
All to generate more of that negative energy for it to feed on.
Exactly. It explains why some people seem addicted to drama. Their life gets calm, and they unconsciously have to create a crisis because they have a dense pain body that's starving.
So how do we deal with this thing? Do we fight it?
No, you deal with it the same way you deal with the compulsive thinker. You bring consciousness to it. You observe it.
So it's watching the feeler this time, not just the thinker.
Right. The pain body's whole trick is to get you to identify with it, to make you believe, I am this anger. The moment you feel that familiar cloud of negativity starting to rise, maybe it's a tightness in your chest or a knot in your stomach, you have to catch it. You say to yourself, okay, the pain body is active.
You name it. You see it as an event that's happening in you, not as being you.
Exactly. You just observe the raw energy of the emotion in your body without letting your mind create a story around it. Don't think about why you're angry or who to blame. Just feel the energy itself.
And that starves it.
Cuts off its food supply. The pain body needs your thoughts to refuel itself. If you stop the narrative and just watch the feeling, it can't sustain itself. It might thrash around for a bit, but eventually it runs out of steam and goes dormant again.
This all keeps coming back to one central skill, doesn't it? This ability to be present. But be present has become such a cliche. It's on wellness blogs and posters. What does it actually feel like?
It's more than just an idea. It's a tangible shift. Tolle has a great little experiment in the book to give you a taste of it. He calls it the mouse hole.
I tried this one. It's surprisingly powerful. Let's walk everyone through it.
Okay. So wherever you are right now, just take a breath. And if you can, close your eyes. Now ask yourself this one simple question internally. I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And then just wait, watch for it. Like a cat watching a mouse hole.
Pauses.
Hey.
See what happened.
Yeah. There was a gap. For a few seconds, because I was waiting for a thought, no thought came. It was just quiet alertness.
That alertness, that silent waiting, is presence. You weren't asleep or zoned out. You were highly alert. And in that state of expectancy, the compulsive thinking just stopped.
It's funny because normally waiting is the worst. But that kind of waiting felt active. It felt really alive. And that's the difference between what we usually do, which is bored waiting, and what he calls alert waiting. Bored waiting is what we do at the post office. It's a state of rejection. I don't want to be here. I want to be somewhere else. It just creates this constant background unhappiness.
You're fighting the moment.
But alert waiting, like the cat or a servant waiting for their master to return, is total acceptance of the moment, combined with high energy. You're so fully present that past and future just fall away.
Okay, but this brings up a huge question, especially for anyone listening who's ambitious or a high achiever. If I'm just alert and waiting all the time, do I lose my drive? Do I stop having goals? Does it mean I just sit on a cushion and become totally passive?
That's the classic fear, isn't it? If I'm not stressed and worried, I won't get anything done. But Tolle flips that completely. He makes a distinction between your inner purpose and your outer purpose.
Okay, what's the difference?
Your outer purpose is your goal in the world. It's getting the degree, building the business, arriving at the destination. That all exists in time in the future. And he says that's perfectly fine. He's not telling you to abandon your goals.
So we can still have ambition. Thank goodness.
You can, but it can't be the primary focus. Your inner purpose, he says, is about the quality of your consciousness in the step you are taking right now.
So it's less about the what and more about the how.
Exactly. Are you doing this task, whether it's writing a report or washing the dishes, with a sense of presence and acceptance? Or are you just trying to get it over with so you can get to the next thing? If the destination becomes more important than the journey, you've lost your inner purpose.
And if your whole life is just a series of steps you're trying to get over with, you're not actually living at all.
You're just getting through it. But here's the paradox. When you make your inner purpose the priority, when you give your full attention to the step you're on, the quality of what you produce skyrockets.
Because your mind isn't split. You're not wasting energy on anxiety about the future.
You're in a flow state. You have access to more creativity, more intelligence. So you actually achieve your outer purpose more easily and more effectively by not being so obsessed with it.
That's the secret sauce then. Care more about the action, less about the result, and you get a better result.
And you get to enjoy your life along the way. Success isn't some future event. Success is the quality of this present moment.
So if we zoom out and look at the journey we've taken today, we started with that beggar on the box. We realized the box itself, our own inner being, is full of gold.
And that gold is just the state of presence, which is here, right now.
We identified the thieves trying to steal it. The voice in the head, which we mistake for ourselves.
But now we know we're the watcher, not the voice.
We looked at the trap of psychological time, this addiction to past and future that just generates guilt and anxiety.
Which then feeds the pain body, that parasite that thrives on our misery.
And the solution to all of it isn't to fight, but to just shine the light of your own awareness on it, to notice when your mind has drifted, to notice when the pain body is stirring.
It's a practice. It's not a one-and-done fix. You're going to fall back into unconsciousness 1,000 times. But the victory isn't never falling, it's in the noticing. The moment you notice you are lost, you're found again.
There's one final challenge from the book that I really love, and I want to leave everyone listening with this. It's a question Tolle asks that just cuts through all the mental noise.
It's the ultimate reality check. He asks you to ask yourself, do you have a problem right now?
And he's so specific about the right now. Not in 10 minutes when your boss calls. Not next month when the bills are due.
Right, at this exact second, as you're listening to this. Are you breathing? Yes. Are you fundamentally okay in this instant? Almost always the answer is yes. The mind will jump in and say, but I have all this debt. And Tolle says, that's a situation, not a problem.
A situation requires action or acceptance.
Yeah.
A problem is just a mental story you tell yourself that creates suffering.
Exactly. You can deal with the situation. You can't deal with a mental story. You take action where you can, and you accept what you can't change. But you don't carry it around as a heavy problem in your mind.
It's a radical shift, from living in a mental simulation of life to living in actual life.
And that's where the peace is. That's the gold.
So, to everyone listening, take a look at the box you're sitting on. The gold isn't in the future. Open the lid. The treasure is now.
Be here now.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next moment.